Lloyd Roll, aka Mega Blitz. In today's video, we'll be looking at Palossand EX with the Surging Spark set finally out on Pokemon TCG Live. We're able to finally play with these new cards, and I've really had my eye on Palossand EX since it has gotten revealed. So now let's jump right in to that deck list. Already here at that deck list with Palossand EX being the main focus of the deck here. Its first attack of that Sand Tomb for 160 damage for 3 colorless energy, and it says during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So we have the ability to be able to make it so our opponent can't retreat, force out the switch cards, the switches, the prime catcher maybe even, which can be pretty helpful. We also have its second attack being Barite Jail for a water, a psychic, and a fighting energy. Put damage counters on each of your opponent's bench Pokemon until its remaining HP is 100. So pairing that with a couple other key Pokemon in the deck here being Froslass, Munkidori, and Radiant Alakazam, we're really able to get the damage counters spreading after we use that Barite Jail attack, really being able to just kind of have that counter manipulation, having the Freezing Shroud during Pokemon Checkup, putting a damage counter on each Pokemon that has an ability, both theirs and ours. So being able to remove those with our Munkidori, moving 3 damage counters from our Pokemon to one of their Pokemon is pretty helpful in this matchup. Plus our Radiant Alakazam with that Painful Spoons ability, once during your turn, may move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon, is pretty helpful as well. And now the hard part with this deck, kind of making sure we have the right amounts that we need for each thing that's going on in the deck here. So we're playing 4 fighting energy, 3 psychic, 2 water, 2 luminous, and 1 dark energy. And the reason for that energy count is because I really want to make sure that if I ever need to, I can use that corner attack on our Sandygast here during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat, only for 10 damage, but being able to have that kind of control element is really important when playing this deck. So I really wanted to make sure that I had the fighting energies in here to do that. And then, of course, having the psychic energy for maybe the Radiant Alakazam attack or the Munkidori attack that we might need. And, of course, all these energies are needed for Palossand, except that dark energy that's in there for the Munkidori. But the really big key add-in was this luminous energy here, which says as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every type of energy, but only provides 1 energy at a time. So it provides every type of energy. So being able to attach that luminous energy to our Munkidori for the dark energy that we need, or to our Palossand for potentially the water, the psychic, or the fighting energy that we might need, is pretty huge. On top of that, we're also playing Sparkling Crystal as the ace spec of choice here. I was gonna play the new scooter that lets you get a bunch of basic Pokemon out, or maybe even Prime Catcher, but Sparkling Crystal just felt like it gave me more of an ability to be able to attack more efficiently, which was really important, which says when the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to uses an attack, that attack costs 1 energy less, and that energy can be of any type. So really being able to help out with the Palossand EX having the strict requirements of that water, psychic, and fighting energies for that Barite Jail attack. A couple other key things I want to point out here in the deck is we're playing 2 copies of Crispin, which says search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, reveal them, put 1 into your hand, the other, and you attach the other one to one of your Pokemon. So being able to power up our Palossand pretty quickly is possible thanks to this Crispin and the Sparkling Crystal and the Luminous Energy, which is really huge in this deck here. So we're playing quite a bit of just different pieces to kind of recycle energy, find the energy and attach them, and really make that doable in the deck here. Playing, Night Stretcher, the Earthen Vessels, the Super Rod, the Sparkling Crystal. We even have 4 Sealstone in here for our V-Star ability to attach to our Rotom or our Lumineon V. We have the Rotom in here for that early instant charge ability. We have the Squawkabilly in here for the same reason, that Squawk and Seize early on. The Lumineon V was here for that Luminous sign to be able to find that boss for game, or that, Crispin that we might need in a pinch, which was pretty helpful. And the last thing I want to talk about here is our 2 stadiums. So we can't play Buddy Buddy Poffin because Sandygast has a HP of 80, and there isn't a Sandygast in the standard format that has 70 HP. So we had to play 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball. So we're going to play 2 Artisans so we can hopefully search out that Sandygast and stuff that we need pretty quickly. And then Area 0, Underdepths. Since Palossand is a Terra-type Pokemon. Once we have the Area Zero Underdepths in play, we can expand our bench to 8 Pokemon, allowing us to bench, our Snowrunts, our Munkidoris, our extra Sandygast that we might need. And then if they discard that Area Zero Underdepths, or we discard it, we can remove some of that liabilities, being the Rotom, the Lumineon, or the Squawkabilly, or maybe even a damaged Palossand of some sorts. So now let's jump right in to that gameplay. Already here at that gameplay with our Palossand EX deck at the coin flip here. We're going to be picking tails, as I always do. Do we want to go first or second? We want to be going first with this Palossand EX deck here. We want to be able to evolve our Sandygast into Palossands. We want to be able to evolve our Snorunt into Froslass as quickly as possible here. Starting with Radiant Alakazam in the active spot is a bit unfortunate. Not exactly what you want to see to be starting out with over here. But our opponent going to flip over that Duskull here. So we're going to be seeing some Curse Blast potentially this game. Artazon going to be able to find ourselves a basic Pokemon without a rule box. Going to get that Sandygast here. Nest Ball coming down. Grabbing ourselves that Rotom V Ultra Ball. Discarding Ultra Ball Psychic Energy to be able to grab ourselves a Squawkabilly EX, so we can Squawk and Seize here. Squawk and Seize, discarding our Froslass and our Counter Catcher to be able to draw 6 cards. We're going to be able to Nest Ball here for a Snorunt. Going to be able to attach the Luminous Energy to our Sandygast, instant charge for 3 cards, and pass turn. Now over to our opponent here with that Duskull in the active spot. We're going to have to see what we're playing up against. Maybe some Dragapult, maybe a Palkia, maybe some Greninja Accent. And we see that Froakie coming down here. So we're going to see some Shinobi Blades coming down, be able to search out some cards that they want every time they use that attack. And the Pidgey coming down. So we're going to see some quick searches as well. So really just trying to find a bunch of cards and find whatever they want when they want it. Ultra Ball also grabbing them the Lumineon V here. Lumineon V gonna grab them Arven, and then they're gonna play the Arven here. And the best thing they could probably grab is maybe a Buddy PAF, maybe a Nest Ball or something like that to get the bench filled up to get some more Pokemon. And you're probably gonna grab the Forest Sealstone here. You'll be able to attach to the Lumineon V, use the Star Alchemy ability for that V-Star power to be able to find any one card they want. Nest Ball coming down here. And we saw them grab that Forest Sealstone, grabbing the Rotom here. Going to be able to attach the Forest Sealstone to the Rotom. Going to be able to use the Star Alchemy if they want, but they're just going to instant charge and pass turn. Top decking that Forest Sealstone for us, however, is pretty huge. Evolve into the Palossand EX, attach the Forest Sealstone here. Artazon coming down. We're going to grab ourselves a second Snorunt. We're going to be able to play the Area Zero Underdepths this turn as well, being able to fill up the bench, which is going to be pretty helpful. But first, we're going to attach the Psychic Energy to our Palossand, and we're going to grab ourselves a Sparkling Crystal. And unfortunately, we did prize our switch, which is not exactly what we wanted, but not too big of a deal. We're going to grab ourselves the Ultra Ball. And then we're going to use our Star Alchemy ability here to grab ourselves a Froslass to be able to evolve into the Snorunt so we can have that Freezing Shroud ability start ticking. Play the Area Zero Underdepths, bench the Munkidori, discarding with our Earthen Vessel that Water Energy to grab a Fighting and a Dark Energy for next turn so we can attach for that Adrena Brain and be able to start moving some damage counters around with our Freezing Shroud ability ticking, putting 10 damage on everything that has an ability. Being able to Adrena Brain, move the damage counts from our Pokemon to theirs, and then the Painful Spoons with our Radiant Alakazam is going to be pretty huge as well. Our opponent here going to use their Star Alchemy from their Rotom V, finding any one card they want, Rare Candy, into that Pidgeot EX, getting themselves to that Quick Search ability and that free pivot that they love to use when playing Pidgeot. Things like Cleffa or other Pokemon that have free retreat. Mew EX is another one that comes to mind, which is really nice to be able to reset the tempo kind of back in your favor, not really have to put up something you have to attach to retreat out of. Having that free retreat can be pretty massive in a lot of matchups. So our opponent here going to play an Arven, going to be able to find themselves Ultra Ball and Technical Machine De-Evolution. Technical Machine De-Evolution not super great in the matchup here, so they're probably going to discard it with that Ultra Ball along with Buddy PAF to be able to find themselves a Pokemon. We're maybe seeing a Dusknoir, maybe a Greninja EX potentially. We're just going to have to wait and see what they got cooking up on their side of the board here. We're going to see a Dusknoir coming down. Going to be able to Rare Candy into that Dusknoir, so maybe we're seeing a Cursed Blast this turn here from our opponent, KOing our Munkidori, which is unfortunate We don't really want them KOing our Munkidori at this point, but we have Nest Ball, so we can grab the second Munkidori and kind of go from there and start using the Adrenaline Brain ability regardless. So we're going to have to see what we can cook up on our turn here. Attaching for turn to the Frogadier. Instant charge, draw 3 cards, Freezing Shroud, ticking some more damage counters here. We're going to be able to do quite a bit this turn. Since we prized our switch, we have Crispin, however, so we're going to be able to play the Crispin, getting 2 energies, being able to attach one to a Pokemon and put the other one in hand. So we're going to attach the Water Energy to the Radiant Alakazam, a Fighting Energy to Radiant Alakazam, retreating into our Palossand EX here, Ultra Ball coming down, discarding Ultra Ball, Fighting Energy, to be able to grab ourselves a Munkidori, maybe a Sandygast or something like that. We're going to grab ourselves a Sandygast or a Munkidori. Regardless, Nest Ball is going to be also coming down, grabbing the other Pokemon, which is going to be that Sandygast here. We're going to be able to manipulate some damage counters with that Painful Spoons ability here. We're going to move 2 of those damage counters from the Lumineon to the Froakie here. Going to be able to Sand Tomb for 160 damage, trapping that Pidgeot EX in the active spot. So now our opponent cannot retreat out of that Pidgeot EX, forcing them to play either a switch or maybe a prime catcher or something of that nature. Playing Radiant Blastoise is pretty interesting in this deck, being able to kind of put some damage counters everywhere, which is something I've actually been seeing a lot of Greninja players and a lot of Palkia people as well playing, is Radiant Blastoise over Radiant Alakazam. To be able to discard those energies and spread some more damage counters, which is pretty cool, and you can attack with it if you're playing Palkia in the deck as well here. Rare Candy on the Greninja EX on this turn, and they're going to be able to attach Blustery Wind here for 100 damage to our Palossand, and then discarding the Stadium. So it's going to allow us to discard and remove the 2 liabilities, being that Rotom and the Squawkabilly, from our bench, putting us down to a normal bench size of 5, which is totally fine. We got set up. We have everything we want here. Night Stretcher coming out, grabbing ourselves that second Froslass here, attaching the Dark Energy to our Munkidori. Being able to move 3 damage counters from our Palossand EX to our opponent's Froakie here, putting it to 5 damage counters overall. And then we're going to be able to Painful Spoons as well, moving 2 damage counters from the Lumineon to that Froakie, taking a knockout, putting us at a 4-5 split here. Getting a Professor's Research off the prize cards, playing the Professor's Research. Going to be able to evolve our Sandygast into Palossand here. Play the Artazon if we want to, but we're going to elect not to because I don't want my opponent getting another Froakie into play potentially. And then Sand Tomb here for the knockout on that Pidgeot EX, putting us at a 2-5 split, getting a switch and that Froslass off of our prize cards here. Now, this is going to be a pretty crucial turn for our opponent here. They're going to really want to try to make sure that they can get, you know, the Palossand taken care of. Maybe the Radiant Alakazam or the Munkidori could be pretty high priority to them as well. And that double Froslass just ticking away some extra damage counters on their Pokemon is not what they want to see here. Froakie coming down, Unfair Stamp coming down as well. Gonna get our Snorunt and a Crispin in our hand, which isn't too bad. Crispin, we can attach some energies to our Palossand and kind of go from there. Our opponent going to attach a double Turbo Energy to their Greninja EX so they can use that Mirage Barrage attack, which has discarded 2 energy from this Pokemon to 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So 120 damage coming down for the Radiant Alakazam and the Munkidori, taking 2 prize cards, putting us at a 3-2 split. So we're going to really have to see what we can pull off here. Freezing Shroud coming down, ticking some more damage counters. Draw for turn here. We're going to get the Lumineon V off the top deck. Lumineon sign, finding the boss's orders we need. Boss's orders, pull up that Rotom V. Sand Tomb for the knockout, taking our last 2 prize cards. Being able to take down our Greninja Pidgeot EX opponent. I've really been enjoying this Palossand EX deck, and I feel like Palossand EX is just a really cool Pokemon. So now let's jump right in to that outro. Alright, it's gonna do for today's video. I'm gonna make sure to put the deck list of that Palossand deck that I played in today's video in the description below, ready for copy and paste right into Pokemon TCG Live. And while you're down there, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!